Hello, my name is Benjamin Hart. I'm an American attorney and the managing director of Integrity Legal here in Bangkok, Thailand. As the title of this video suggests, we're discussing quote unquote the brave new world of Thai immigration, or Thai tourism, I guess I should say, and immigration measures and public health measures. So I'm usually not one to do sort of op-ed on what's going on, but this was a little bit more than even I could sort of stay away from personally. So I specifically cited Brave New World because there's sort of, I view Brave New World and Orwell's 1984 as sort of companions along the same guideline. And Brave New World basically narrated a future in which, you know, you sort of had more control, sort of a more totalitarian type control in the government, but it was not sort of the iron fist that was in 1984. It was a little bit more, shall we say, it was a bit more of a soft touch, if you will, for lack of a better term. Now, I want to be clear. I'm not saying that anyone is advocating anything akin to overly statist methodologies associated with immigration or being in Thailand. I'm a naturalized Thai citizen. I very much like Thailand. I love Thailand, and I like living here. That stated, some recent information came to my sort of purview, and I thought it warranted mentioning. In a recent article from ThaiVisa.com, and is my understanding that ThaiVisa.com is citing the Daily News, that's www.dailynews.co.th. Article is titled, "Visit Thailand, but conditions apply. Tracking devices set routes away from Thais and COVID minders mooted." Quoting directly, Dr. Taret Krasnairawiwong, Director General of the Health Service Support Department, has proposed the latest plan for short-term stay tourists. Quoting further, "Here are the conditions that would allow tourists to perhaps leave their quarantine rooms. They will have to wear tracking devices to monitor their every movement. They will have to stick to routes where other Thai people do not go. They must not veer off course at all. They will have to be followed around 24/7 by COVID minders to ensure they don't stray and are healthy. They will be encouraged to do fresh air activities. Golf was mentioned in the Daily News story as a possibility." Despite these extraordinary restrictions, Dr. Taret is convinced this is the way forward to kickstart the Thai economy and get the tourism ball rolling again. I'm not going to exactly, I truly believe everyone involved at a policy level in the business community associated with tourism and in the sort of more tertiary aspects of the tourism economy here in Thailand, everybody wants tourism back. Now, there are those that feel and view the public health considerations as heavily outweighing the considerations to the economy and tourism. But that stated, I think everyone is well-intentioned. But I have heard it said by a former Supreme Court justice that the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And I have to say that just as a person that comes from a legal background, especially in the United States, I do feel that maybe it's very warranted to seriously consider these provisions being implemented. Or I should say reconsider or really take a breath before implementing these levels of tracking, monitoring, control, for lack of a better term, on prospective tourists, because it really begs the question, would tourists actually come to Thailand if all of these measures were imposed? I mean, how welcome would one feel in a country that imposed these kind of measures? Now, that being stated, I'm not saying that certain protocols need to be undertaken in order to try and mitigate or forestall, public health concerns. But that stated, there is a realm of reasonable that I would say is out there, and then there's getting into the realm of less than reasonable, let's call it that. And again, my only comment on a personal level would be, let's really, really rethink the notion of tracking and tracing and having quote-unquote COVID minders before implementing policy that might end up getting set in such a way that could have a substantial impact on future tourism coming to the Kingdom of Thailand.